What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Kind of Punch Boxing News, and I have some unfortunate news concerning HBO. HBO is officially out of the boxing business. That's right, they're out of the boxing business. They just made the official announcement today. It's weird to even say HBO's out of the boxing business because they were the top primetime boxing channel. That was one of the reasons I got HBO. It wasn't for the damn movies. You know what I mean? You could watch the movies from anywhere, from Netflix, Redbox, you name it. You can watch any film from there. But so it was definitely all about sports. And, now that they're gone, I don't know. That leaves the top one to Showtime. But then Showtime is not the only pony in the show because, you got ESPN. You have PBC, you have The Zone, and I can't help but compare it to how Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, how they went out of business simply because they just couldn't compete with a different platform. You know what I mean? Like, how much is HBO a month? What, 15, 20 bucks? Versus, all you had Triple G, you had Canelo Alvarez, and you had a new guy, out of the blue, Jaime Munguia. That's the only guys that Jim Lampley mentioned. And I'm like, okay, well, Jaime Munguia doesn't even have a dancing partner. Sure, they could probably come back to the sport with Golovkin and Canelo 3, maybe. But I don't even think they want it no more. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but I'm not surprised because, you look at all the 24/7s. They used to have four of those shows. First they had the Face Off. Then they had 3 to 4 of those shows each week to keep you up to date on what those boxers were doing while they're in training camp. A little bit of their personal life, a little something about them. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes kind of things that people wanted to hear, that got people involved. And then what happened, Showtime actually made their own modification of that and called it All Access. And then Floyd, of course, went there. But Floyd started that thing on 24/7. Despite the ridicule that he got from HBO, because they did ridicule him. And I'm not talking about the money Mayweather. I'm talking about when he wanted to fight the best, when he was beating the best, pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. And all they did was ridicule them. So it's kind of their fault, though, in a sense, because you don't run off the best in the business. Because when Floyd went to Showtime, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. And you've seen that those shows, especially after Pacquiao was kind of he was kind of carrying that show, with his stuff, the Pacquiao Cottos and the Pacquiao Margaritos, those shows like that, they were really good, and I looked forward to those. But then they start getting rid of that, and they said, oh well, we're cutting back on budget. So when they started cutting back on budget, knowing that affected their views, I don't know what they expect. You know what I mean? So I figured they're on their way out. So again, it's sad to say that HBO is calling it quits on boxing, man. That's scary, though. That's a scary concept. That's just like Reebok saying, you know what, we're not going to make any more shoes. You know what I'm saying? It's, and you grew up with Nike and Reebok, So I don't know. I mean, Jim Lampley, he's a very emotional guy. So, my only thing is, will they just cut out if they're done with it? Will it be more of the fight game? Will it be more of that? Because I mean that was a pretty good fight that kind of showed a boxing overall to the top guys, but it was still under their opinion on who was the best and who wasn't. So man, I don't really know what to really say about that, But of course, we still have Showtime. They still have The Zone, ESPN, PBC. They have boxing. Boxing is on. And Al Heyman, I think he's another reason for it because it was called free TV. But you guys can remember, before HBO started their reign for the last 25, 30 years, you had boxing on television for free, okay? So if you start looking at Hagler Hearns or Hearns Leonard, those were free. Those were on free TV, okay? You didn't have to pay for boxing. You know what I'm saying? Just like you didn't need health insurance back in the day. Things that people become accustomed to people take for granted, because now people want to charge for it. So when Al Heyman put it back on television, that took a massive hit too. So, and HBO couldn't compete with that. Then you had Fire Stick, you had other things that really wasn't bringing in HBO any revenue, any real revenue. So people could still view their content, still download HBO Go and watch that. I don't know why they had an HBO Go and an HBO Now, which was retarded, but a lot of factors which caused the demise and the stoppage of HBO. So it's crazy. They are doing one last. Deverenchenko and Jacobs will get it on. I think they should have at least a going out party. Like, hey, show respect, love, a nice programming, to end their business with boxing. I think they owe that to the people because of how they did in the last year and a half. You know what I mean? Really the last 2 years. So, they should just go all out and at least spend some money to, for their last show. You know what I mean? And and Jacobs and Deverenchenko, they should feel proud to be on the last viewing of HBO. You know what I mean? But never say never. You never know, because, HBO, someone could come into HBO one day with an idea to bring boxing back to HBO. But when you stop something, it takes a whole lot of preparation to, get it back to where it was. You know what I mean? Because at that point, if someone tries to come back that knows what the hell they're doing at HBO to bring it back, they're going to have to start from scratch. So it's unfortunate, man. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about HBO calling it quits. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.